Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sisters United. How is everybody doing? I am so just excited about Sisters United, My Gospel Soul, and all of that good stuff, y'all. Today, I ran across a video on YouTube that I wanted to share. So I'm just screen sharing today, y'all. Might be a little raggedy on the screen sharing, but I'm going to get it in. Okay, going to get it in. So today, I wanted to share. Some of y'all know about the reunion of girlfriends on Blackish. So I wanted to play the interview with them since this is Sisters United. Um, and I think that girlfriends represents a lot of relationships that we have as homegirls, girlfriends, sisters, divas, all that good stuff. So I wanted to play the reunion, the interview, and just for, well, might be the whole show. But anyway, here it is. Y'all pray this is my screen sharing tryout. Okay, boom, here we go. And enjoy.
employee ID. If required, enter client's ID. Time, 10:03 a.m. Sista, enter employee ID. If required, enter client ID. If required, enter token number or wait for time. Time, 9:39 a.m. If you have another token number, enter it now, or hang up to end call.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix that. Can't hear it. Oh, God.
conscious and choiceful decision that it was for women of different skin tones, that we all represented different parts of being a Black woman. And in those episodes where they were hefty, she had her own specific and particular vision of what she was wanting to tell, whether we disagreed or not. It was a conversation about race relations. It gets heavy and identity and like how people feel and how you defend that and how you go out in the world and represent yourself, how you speak. You know, are you Black? If you do not speak, that's right. That Black. Like, what are you?
And shout out to the actress, and you know, she's amazing and great in her life right now.
No, she's being respectful.
I can feel it. But I mean, she had her take on it. And so she was speaking a certain kind of way, and she's putting extras on stuff that made me personally feel uncomfortable.
There's a lot of that in the Black community. You know, where you live, your zip code, where you went to school, how you speak, girl from the hood, what that sounds like, what that means, and what is that, and what's put on you. And stereotypes that you walk into the world with because of where you grew up.
And I think, imagine in your own personal environments having those kinds of conversations, how heated they get, how uncomfortable they get, the difference of opinion that occurs, but you're in the safety of your environment. We were doing this as a show in a work environment where then whatever was decided, we as actresses would have to go on camera for the world and name that and say that. Now, in that sense, thank God there wasn't social media. But there weren't conversations like this happening on television. And so we were doing them and we were going to be the faces of them. And I don't know about you guys, but it scared me sometimes. It would terrify me if the opinion that my character was going to say was completely opposing to what I believe. And how were people going to know that? It's one thing when you play a character and you're dealing with like, okay, I don't plant plants, but I'm going to plant plants as this character. But when you're dealing with things that are so core to who you are as a person, race, identity, culture, class, these kinds of things that define you as a person, that you've had long conversations with yourself about, that experiences that you've had have informed you about, and then you have to do something contrary to that on camera. It's terrifying.
It's very hard. And also to being Black women, it's a different thing because you want to be responsible as well. But we're actors. And we're not producers.
You're not curing brain cancer.
It's the bottom line.
But now we know culture influences policy. It influences all of it. And we as individuals all understood our responsibility. Absolutely. That's part of what those parties.
She had both women.
But this one,
Let me tell you. I'm from.
You know, Jill made a point. You know, you come in, there is a responsibility. And it is, you have to remember you have a job to do. That's first and foremost. But you do walk in, like Tracy said, you do walk in with a certain responsibility and a certain biography that you come into the story. You know, me being from Berkeley, my father being political, I went to UC Berkeley. I lived in Africa the first 2 years of my life. So I studied media representation of the minority. So I had a huge thing with physical comedy. So, I memean, but not to the point where I didn't want to entertain, but from the point of what is offensive, what is stereotypical, what is introducing a stereotype. So we all of us have a voice. We fought for those characters.
And we were all vocal.
All of us.
We were all vocal. We pushed up against things that I think would have been an assumption that we would just do. And I will also say, none of us were producers. None of us had a stake other than our very small, very good in the context of life, but in the context of Hollywood, we had not high salaries. We were all new actors when we started. And I think now, like, people are like, why don't you get it on Netflix? Like, we have no power.
Really?
We are not producers on the show. We don't have, like, we were all in the same position. But what we did have was our voices and what we were gonna say. And we, I mean, on a regular.
Oh,
we
God.
spoke up.
Yeah, they had woke
Yeah,
actors.
they didn't know what they were inheriting.
But I think that's what made it so wonderful though.
For us,
We did care. I care about
we
the
cared, we
kids.
did
I care
care.
about the women watching.
Yeah.
And they're like, why do you care? And like, because I do.
yeah.
Even things like drugs and huge.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Drug episode.
About us fighting with each other, we
Yes.
kept pushing back against
The
the
fact
fact that we.
we didn't know, see, I was not told that my slap, the first season
Yeah.
finale,
Mm.
that it connected. Remember? No, we didn't know until it aired.
Right.
They put in a, like,
Yeah, 'cause
it went, I
yeah.
didn't slap her, but they put it in, and I was so like upset about
It
that.
was
I don't
very-
like how that, I don't like women like fighting. I don't like
And
that.
we fought a lot. There was a lot of that
Like,
stuff for
physical
us.
stuff, I didn't like
I
that.
mean, well, also, I'll take it a little bit funny, because y'all remember the season when the jacuzzi came?
Oh.
Talk about me too. We were, no, we
I'm
were,
kidding. No, I didn't mean it like that. It just meant always in a.
it was really, it was
Yeah.
so intense. I mean,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, we had to be, I was like in
season
bikini.
four.
It was like,
Season
what are you
four.
doing? I'm going, yes.
Season 4.
Sure piece in our body. We're four smart women, and we have mouths and minds, and we're more than
Just our bodies.
Just our bodies.
But we did have to work out a lot.
Yeah, we did. We did.
I never got in the jacuzzi, by the way. She spent,
Oh,
to me.
but they were living together.
Level of friend.
We don't talk all the time.
No,
We don't see each other a lot.
But every time I see them, it's like no time has passed.
Yeah, and I will say this, we also spent a lot, I mean, that was a hefty amount of time we
Think
spent
about it,
together.
that's like we talked about. That was almost like half of our lives.
Because
Almost.
I attribute so much of what I learned at the beginning of my career, this is it. It was a good 8 years, and we did 22 or 24 a year.
Oh,
yeah.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that affect y'all doing business? Because y'all had so much success early.
Oh,
Yeah,
but we had success in particular.
Yeah.
We did. It wasn't as, what was it, global, but not, it was
The
very
black-
white and black.
The black, you know, it
Which
was
is the
like,
goal
the
now.
goals that I would give, like, be mine. When I get goals, I want you to be mine. Keep going over, you know, it was that. So we were a particular, you know, we hit a certain demographic.
Now, when we talk about closure, I hope y'all don't think that this episode is closure for the dying white girl. How did y'all feel? Yeah, but we want more than that. Like we got things that we need to wrap up. Like how did y'all feel not getting that closure?
That was hard. I mean, also keep in mind, Jill left us. So that ending was no bueno.
That was, that finale where Joe and Tony were at that time.
It was bad.
Yeah, that finale, there was no closure.
Yeah, and then the last episode that we actually shot was during the writer's strike. I directed it. None of our regular crew and regular people were there.
Yeah.
So it was so no closure. Like we really had we had no party.
Nothing. It was literally, we actually didn't even know, really.
Yeah.
We just sort of just
We got a phone call.
This.
Like it's over.
You know, it's crazy that, I don't know who knows or, you know, probably people don't know. I had like maybe 5, 6 lunch meetings with Laura. Like I was to come back whenever it was gonna be, we were to come, I was to come
We all know
back.
what the story was.
Yeah.
That was gonna be close.
Oh, yeah. I was to come back for like maybe 4 episodes on the end or whatever like that, and it never happened.
And the strike, and then they just our show CW at the Times. I think it wasn't financially the smart decision, and they just
Maybe
house. They called it.
It was a different tone then.
Yeah, it's just a different world. And our show, I don't think was as important to them as it was to our community.
How did the dynamic of the show change after Jill left?
You know, you build, it's kind of like having 4 children and one leaves off for college.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're in the house and you kind of have to, you know, it's never, it would be if any of us were to leave. We were the 4 unit, the 4 of us.
And then I also think, you know, shows when they go on that long, 6, 7, 8 seasons, stuff like that, the dynamics do start to change because there's the legs of the show, it starts to change, you know. But it was really weird. It was weird for a lot of reasons. It was weird because we didn't know what are we doing? What are the stories that we're telling? It was weird to have one of our arms gone and to realize the show itself would move on if any of us left, which is a strange thought.
And it was always speculation that it was beat to Jill.
No.
Was it?
No, it wasn't. No, see, okay, let me say this. I've said it before, but let me say it again. So what a lot of people don't know is Girlfriends was my 3rd audition in here. So the first audition I booked, second one I didn't, third one I did, Girlfriends. So I'm on this show for 6 years. I know no casting people, I know no producers. I'm a girl on my name, so I'm saying. Studios are known, networks are known. And so I have a 6-year contract. So I booked Girlfriends at 25. So now, not only am I a woman, I'm a Black woman. I'm like 31, 32 now. And so I'm thinking, I gotta get stuff going because I don't know, like, what's next. And so fear played a part. It's really I will say, studios and networks, they can fire you at any time if they choose. We have a contract. And there was something that I really loved about having a conversation with myself. Do I want to sign a new contract? Where do I want to go in my personal career? Like I have that choice because my 6-year contract was up. And at the time, it felt right for me. Yeah.
Did you have any conversations with the rest of the
I did, and I do. That's the fans, them first for sure. I regret. But the reason why I didn't is because I was afraid that, just the whole business aspect of it. If one were to say like to agents, it's the whole business aspect of. I got nervous about that. But then number two, like the fans, I didn't think about, I mean, by the way, I'm green, you know, I'm new. And I didn't know that you have to make an announcement. Right, that you are
That
like,
would be a whole
like
Instagram
you're
post.
doing the job. I didn't know that. But I regret, if I could go back, I would definitely do things differently, for sure.
Did any of y'all think that it would be something?
I sent them flowers on their first day, I did send them flowers on their first day back to work.
One thing you cannot do is tell someone or project how you would do something onto someone else. She made a choice that was right for her. And that was her choice. And we have to respect that. And
Yeah, I'll be honest, we were in the trenches, the four of us together. It was so hard, to navigate what we were navigating. Looking back, I think we did a really good job.
I think we
Do
did.
you know what I mean? Like, we were in quote, our little dressing rooms, we all shared a bathroom, like we were on top of each other. We did a really good job considering what was there. We loved each other.
Studios
We
as well.
switched studios, like all these different things. There was a roadmap for us in terms of how to do that. And I think we were navigating it together. It was scary a lot of times. And I think we did the best in trying to trust each other and sort of support each other as we knew how. We were all really young.
Very young.
And very green in our careers. Like
It was our first big, job, a series regular.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah, we were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
No,
we've been up, but
yeah.
nothing on this level.
Yeah.
I had done something on Showtime, but I mean, like a year, 2 years.
But you
this
changed
was
our lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was like our big, and we grew up together.
Yeah.
Did you feel?
It's funny, we haven't had this conversation before, but
Ever?
no, we haven't been together, the four of us, since
But that conversation we never had.
the Essence luncheon
Yes.
with Mara, but
Yeah,
we've
that's right.
never had a chance to have this conversation. And truthfully, it's sort of been like, it's not a necessary conversation.
Well, I'm happy that we had it though.
Yeah,
I'm happy that you got to hear my voice.
but I mean, I've heard you say those things,
Yeah.
and I mean, the only thing I felt was, oh, that's really scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because part of our, like, we had four, it was arms
Chemistry.
and legs, and all of a sudden one of our legs or arms was gone. And there was not much explanation about it, and you want to respect somebody's choice, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause it did seem like the beginning of the day. And then it just abruptly.
That's one of the things that really, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you guys. Oh. That is one of the things that bothers me when I would hear people say, well, what are you guys gonna do without Tony? We don't just do the show.
but it was hard with that, you know?
No, I think, well,
Issue, please. Yes. Thank you.
no, but what I'm
I
saying
hear
is that
what- I
if
hear what
other
you're
people
saying,
would
yeah.
say that, I'm like, you have these talented actors that are still working on a beautiful show. And it became a topic that I wished it hadn't been.
Understandable, and I can understand that, but I also have to say that the four of us were the girlfriends, and it's like, with any Destiny's Child,
Yeah.
Supremes, whatever, like, it's understandable. The place that you start is where people get invested and you fall in love, and so there was,
They didn't know.
yeah, and I think we didn't know, and I do think it was the beginning. We had done 6 years of extraordinary television. We had done 130 something episodes with all of us, and then we did 170 some or whatever it ended up at. Because we did 2 seasons after. And I mean, I don't know, looking back to a certain extent, it's all a blur. I mean,
She doesn't remember anything.
I know.
You just keep going. You know what I mean? It's like not to, you just, the marathon continues. You know what I mean? You have to keep moving. And I think that's what we did. We did our best.
The final question on this deal, in hindsight, you think you made the right decision, right?
I don't regret leaving them. I don't regret that. The way, not the communication, I would do that differently. But I think I made the best choice for myself at the time. Yes.
Gotcha. Now, Golden, had the show continued, do you think you finally would have found someone to paint the bar?
Real quick. quick, real quick. Possibly. I mean, because those Jumanji, Jabubu. I mean, those are really real questions. Even when I'm at the grocery store, people will stop me. I can see people following me down the produce aisle. Jabari, where's Jabari? But I love that. People really felt as if Maya was their cousin or their BFF, and they really felt a strong connection. But yeah, you never know, possibly.
Yeah, because you get so emotionally invested in the show, like even with the character, you always daydream about her big day, her wedding. And it seemed like it was about to happen, but it didn't. Like, what would Joan's wedding have looked like?
Oh my God. I don't know, but I have to say I think Joan's big love affair was Tony. I think that was the biggest relationship of her life. And not that she was in love with her romantic life, but I think that was the big relationship of her life. I don't know what her wedding would look like. I don't know what my wedding will look like. You know what I mean? I think in some way, for me personally, I have allowed Bo Johnson marrying Dre to be the evolution of what I was not able to play out on Girlfriend. That I have the family that Joan wanted. I have the husband that Joan was longing for. I went from being a lawyer to a doctor. And I'm playing out a different part of that person, Yeah.
Who would have been the maid of honor? Because I mean, you were talking to people. So who would have been the maid of honor?
I think Tony would have come back to it. I mean, Mara had mapped out the story. We all were told the story. She knew exactly what it was going to be if it was on TV. I think Mara had mapped it out if it was a movie, in terms of where and how things were to find their way. But I don't know what we weren't writers on the show. So I don't know what my fantasy would have been. But I think I probably made it honor. I probably would have made it to all three of them. And then what was Keisha's name? Monica.
The kid's busy, client's happy, and your money moving, you're unstuck. With mobile deposit and the Wells Fargo mobile app, you can bank without missing a beat.
Are y'all down to do a Girlfriend moment? I feel like that's the only way to get told.
If navigated correctly.
If navigated correctly.
Well, you know someone?
I mean, I think, this episode, we talk about lack of diversity. I think the reason they haven't been a Girlfriend is we are because of the lack of diversity in Hollywood. We white people just don't know what y'all mean to the culture.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think Twitter and social media absolutely you get to hear what we mean and what we
And it's a strong voice. And it's like, how do you get all those voices and put them on someone's desk and say, now, put a price on that.
His Girlfriend merch. I got Joan, Lynn, Tony, and Maya's t-shirts.
But again,
Girlfriend's hat.
apparently there was a perfume that I never knew
had no
about.
idea about.
Apparently Joan smelled pretty good.
Not wonderful.
I wonder why you're not an auntie or because how important do you think it was to have representation of your character?
So important. I mean, so important. I think it was so few people I saw, like I told you, asking the writers to go ahead and allow Lynn to be mixed and to be that Black girl that is trying to sometimes find a way, raising a white community. But it's funny, being Black in America to me, because I grew up in the Bahamas, it is until the date I was in Nassau, Bahamas, and I felt like coming to America that all the Black people I met here were kind of mixed, meaning like you're in a white country trying to Black people know they're like, oh, I like this kind of music, I like this, pick and choose something, the things that you connect with, but we're just recently allowed in magazines and on TV, and when you come from a place where the presidents were always Black, and then I just felt like everybody here finds their way, but she's just the extreme version. Where, but a lot of people I know grew up in where they're one of the only Black kids in an all-white school, and that was just my whole life. My life in real life, it was a mixture of the two. It wasn't that extreme, but finding that voice and being able to put that out there is just such a relief, because everybody hates each other so much by trying to make one group one thing and one group. And when you are a physical representation of integration, you stand as a threat to people who are narrow-minded. And being, to me, I feel that being a Black woman and having that on your shoulder is a different weight that you carry every day of your life, and you're just constantly defending yourself. So putting it on TV is so great, because people go, oh, you can look like that too. And then they literally stop. Like Lisa Bonet was the first one for me that made life easy. Because people go, oh, you Black, okay, be like her. And then I was like, okay, thank God. Because just without that, people are just going, you know, I get everything. And they're just like, no, I love those people. That's not what I am. Thank you. And now, you know, putting that out there. And everybody's so divided. So, yeah, it was really important to me. And I still think it's nice that I was so excited. I was like, yes, Tracy.
But, you know, I played a Black woman on Girlfriends.
Yeah.
And Blackish was the first time that I actually was able to play a mixed woman. Because throughout my career, I'm Black. I mean, I'm a Black woman, but I'm mixed. And so mixed-ish will be really interesting. And we're also exploring it through my childhood with the 80s, which is a different time than we're in now. So we get to sort of through the very binary world of the 80s, see how it is mirroring the world we're in today in 2019. And you can explore things in a different way because it's a different time frame.
That biracial struggle.
Woo!
I mean,
Tracy first.
I don't know that I would call it a struggle. It hasn't been a struggle for me. I've had a different experience and it's being a struggle. It is, I mean, I really related to a lot of what Brenda said and the way you expressed it, because you did that really eloquently and beautifully. But I don't know that it's a struggle. I mean, it is a particular experience. But I find that my experience has allowed me to be a translator in many ways. I've had to have an understanding of those cultures with an open heart and compassion that, you know, from a young age, knowing that I don't judge a book by its cover, it has really inspired me to look for how I am the same instead of like where the humanity connection is. But at the same time, know that like I don't believe in a colorblind world. I think that the beauty of our world is all of the different cultures and textures and skin tones and that we come from. That's where the juice comes from. That's where the joy and all of it exists. And I think what I come from has allowed me to have an open lens for that, sort of a willingness to do that. But it certainly isn't a struggle for me. But I also had a different upbringing. You know, I think that fame and the experience that I come from removed some of those things from my early childhood experiences because of the privilege that I come from. You know, privilege does allow you to navigate things differently. But as an adult, I'm a Black woman.
I found it to be a sink or swim situation. Mm-hmm. I think that when you're really small and you're confronted with the question every day, what are you? Mm-hmm. It's so complicated. You're just a little kid. And I remember my mom didn't want me to know about racism. So when we moved to America in the Bahamas, it didn't exist. I never got asked anything. There's a rainbow of brown kids in school. Nobody ever questioned anything. And I got to America, everybody was like, what are you? And I had an accent, had a Caribbean dialect like it. So can you imagine? And this big mane of hair that was never cut. And the kids were like, oh, what are you? And my mom was like, oh God, I just believe you. So I went to school. And they said, what race are you? I said, human race. And those kids were like, we were about to get beat down. And I came back and I had been like hit, I had been pushed, and I remember I was like, Mom, okay, you gotta stop. What am I? I need an answer. No numbers, percentages, and like I need to know a little bit of Native American. Give me the percentages. I need it. And then she finally did. She was like, I don't want to. I was like, you got it, because we're in America now, so just hand it to me. And then she did. And she told me all this stuff, and I was like, shoot, okay. And then I went in and I started, you know, just sort of representing. But then the bigger thing was I lived in a white neighborhood and I was bused because it was interracial busing, bused into an all Black school. So I went from being white cracker to, we won't go there, but you know, I got every Cuban, every derogatory name that you could call someone I got in the white name. So Davy, I was like, what the hell am I? I'm getting it on both sides. And then I just said, this is all, it's all BS. I gotta just own who I am, represent who I am. Here I am. I'm a person. I'm from the Bahamas. I don't even know. That's even more difficult being like in America. But just representing who you are, owning who you are, and truly realizing that ignorance comes all across the board by all humans. People can be ignorant and not taking it personally. So I felt like it was the same for swim. I either had to like rise up and be strong and have ultimate compassion towards all humanity and love myself and love my Blackness, and then also love my mother for what she was trying to do and her whiteness, not understanding Black people at all, but thinking she was Black. It was very, she was one of those people. She was like, I can't help my skin color. I was like, Mom. But she did. She thought she was a Black woman. But she said she identified Black. She was an original transracial. She was original.
Yeah. But I was gonna say also, my mom is Black and famous, so I was Black from growing up. You know what I mean? So there was no question. I didn't have to.
She was telling me I'm Black, and she told me she was Black, and I was like,
I just meant in terms of I was thinking as you were talking. So I was hearing that. The difference in the mom, and also because people knew who my mom was. As a matter of fact, I felt responsible for seeing that. Yes. So people knew who my mom was all through growing up. Yeah. She's my mom. And so the immediate assumption is I'm Black. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt responsible for the fact that no one knew who my dad was. That's why I put Ellis in my name. My dad's a lovely man, and that's why I put Ellis in my name. You know, my dad had the same birthday. So Robert Ellis Silverstein, that's my father's name, and that was the reason I put it in my name, Tracy Ellis Ross, so that people also knew that I was my father's child. People, my mom's famous, so people know that people know that, so it was really important to me to do both. But Persia, you just explained all that really beautifully.
And it's one little tiny thing, but my mom every day of my childhood would say, I'm so sorry, I'm not Diana. And I would go, Mommy, I love you, I don't know what you're doing. Why have you never said that? I told you that, that's why she wouldn't come to the set.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it was her ultimate nightmare, because she'd be like, they're expecting to see Diana Ross, and then I show up. And I'm like, I was like, baby, with this Irish hair, and then she comes like, Mom, I love you. And then when I got the show, and she said, oh my God, I can't go to the set. This is like her ultimate fear.
God,
was that now? I said,
I've never heard that story, which means you never told it.
I did tell it.
But it's still
that was 20 years ago. It was 20
I
years ago. I did tell it. Mom was scared to come to set.
Yeah. Did y'all ever feel that low in the TV? Knowing that Tracy was family Black?
No, that's not. Well,
I can answer that question.
well, her mother is the reason why I'm an actress.
You
had like not that she was the first brown skin woman that has ever been on television or in film, but she's the first person that I saw and raised me to live, which is very special to me. And so, I thought like, wow, that would be so cool to be able to do something like that. But it wasn't until I saw her, I was like, wow, that's possible. So Tracy's always known that, like, I hold her mom to a very high standard, just like she's just up there in awe for me. So I was nervous.
I don't think I was nervous is not the word. I think I was highly anxious because my experience, growing up, single mom, my mom was raised my brother and I on our own. My mother's very light skinned, so there was that aesthetic disconnection that I had with my mother. And she worked 2 or 3 jobs, grew up in the Bay Area. So my brother and I were always, it was the TV. This is what happened. So I constantly, my mom's my hero. She's a strong, conscious, beautiful woman. I always felt like Barbara. But there was that, I wanted to see this, and watching movies, TV, seeing Lady Sings the Blues, seeing Diana Ross be a dark-skinned Black woman, sensitive, sensual, vivacious, smart, creative, full of life, and just glamorous in her clothes. And I was like, whoa, who is this woman? Who is this? And my daughter was even her for Halloween. Yeah, and she is just sort of bookmarked. And I cried because it's important. And we're raising these little girls, and now my turn.
Please.
Sorry. It's important for them to see themselves. And so I thank Tracy's mother for that. Because sometimes when you're growing up, you're visual and you feel things, but you see, and that's what creates that feeling. And so seeing her mother, it just really inspired me. So I wouldn't say nervous, but I was highly anxious to see someone that I felt like emulated an aesthetic that I desperately needed during my career.
I've seen that interrupted with bullet points.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
It was great. So amazing. She is.
She was in a hair and makeup trailer and was like running her
I
hair.
was
and like,
trying to do my hair. She was trying to do that thing with the Marcel iron.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, you're gonna burn my hair.
But you don't want to stalk her. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to be like this. But I mean, that would have been weird, right?
So Tracy gave me one of the greatest gifts.
We were, we're in New York, and I think it was a month, like, and she asked me when was I leaving, and also seemed like my brother was, and I worked at the time, he ended up looking good. But she said, "You want to come in home? You want to come to my house?" So I went to her childhood home. That was one of those gifts that I was like inside the house, I was trying to play it so cool. Like, I've been here before, like, I'm cool, but inside I was like, it was so sweet.
One of the only people that so much, I like to hear. I don't think ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I was so lucky. I worked with Tracy's sister, Rhonda Ross, and so right before I was girlfriend, I was in New York in another world. I was working on a show for a while, and I was sharing a trailer with Rhonda. So I had to bring my daughter to work, and didn't have me watch her that day. And Rhonda was so sweet, and I didn't know who her mom was at all. But fans are everywhere, even extras on the show, and they were coming over going, "I love her mom." And I just thought, people love her mom. I don't know anymore. I just love her mom, And I don't know how I didn't make a connection. I was really young. Anyway, and then so I loved Rhonda. And when the show ended, that soap ended, we did the finale, and then I came to LA and I got girlfriends, and I called Rhonda. And I was like, "Rhonda, you should go up for this show. It's called Girlfriends." And she was like, "My sister's in that show." And I was like, "What?" So for me, it was so exciting to meet the other Tracy, to meet the other, Ross sister. So I felt like really excited, not intimidated, but I felt like that was so exciting, seeing how grounded and lovely your family is. It was just a testament to, this is so exciting, what wonderful, beautiful energy. And then she was once again an amazing dynamic